Hello and welcome back. I'm your friendly neighborhood technician. Today we're going to keep removing stuff from the M120. We're going to take this front timing cover off, then we're going to take the camshafts off, then we're going to take the heads off, and we're going to see what it looks like in there. So right now we are going to take off the remaining 9 bolts. You have 1 here, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So we have all those bolts left. Remember, there were 2 longer bolts down here, right down here, where this one right here, right there, where that pipe was connected to, and they had the really long bolts in there. So you don't have to; those are already removed. So we just have these 2 right here at the bottom, and these are going to be all 13s up here, and those are 2 10s. Also, one thing we have to do: we have to remove the timing chain tensioner. So I think I'm going to do that first. And the timing chain tensioner is going to be a 27mm socket. There we go. And you will get some oil dripping out of it. And I will replace this also because I don't like putting old parts back in engines. Now we're going to take off the remaining bolts. And as always, make sure you remember where they go, because some of these can be shorter or longer than the other ones. And now the 2 10s that are right here and right here. Now the work instructions don't specify taking off the lower oil pan, but I have a feeling that there is a bolt right there underneath that bulge, and there might be a bolt underneath this one right here. Just like in the 119, how there were some bolts in the middle there inside the lower oil pan. So you take that off and you have access to more bolts from the inside. I might be wrong. Maybe it's just really difficult to pry off, but better safe than sorry. I'm going to take the lower oil pan off, and I'm going to have a look in there and see what I can find. So the lower oil pan are going to be Allen's, all these down here, and I'm going to replace this thing anyways because you can see how munched it is right here. So I already have a new oil pan for it. So I'm just going to go ahead and take off all these bolts all the way around it real quick, and then we're going to pry it off. Before I take the pan off, I'm going to remove the drain plug and let any last bit of oil drain out. At least the oil doesn't look terrible. I am actually quite surprised at how clean it is in there. I don't know yet if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but one thing that I am surprised about is this is not exactly rock hard. You can see it's still flexible slightly. Yeah, that's a good surprise. And as I suspected, there's a bolt there and there's a bolt there holding the front cover on. So make sure you remove those. Now we're going to find a suitable place to tap this timing cover off. If you look right here at this bolt hole actually extends farther past to where the timing cover ends, maybe about that far. If you get a rubber mallet in there or something to where you're not going to damage the bolt hole, you can use this point to tap it forward. Or if you have a suitable prying instrument, you can stick it between, there's another bolt hole slash that sticks out, and right here you can use it to pry it forward. Something like that. Same thing on this side. Now the cover should be easier to remove. Should be. There we go. Looks just like the inside of the 119. All bronze and everything. This actually doesn't look too bad either. All the pulleys and everything, all these are nice and sharp. There's no wear to the pulley right here, to the sprocket. You can see the points are nice and pointy and they're not rounded off at all. So, yeah, I like it. Let's keep going. All right, before you take off the cams and the cam bearings, these are numbered. You can see right here, it's number 1. And that's on the passenger side on the front. And it's 2. The numbers are upside down when you're looking at it. So 3, 4, 5, 6. And it's kind of difficult to see if you can see it at all. But just know this one is 7. Or when you take them off, you can set them down and just make sure you set them all in the same place. That way when they go back all together, you don't run into any problems or anything like that. So some of these are difficult to see. That's going to be 8. This one is going to be 9. And this one somewhere is 10. And then you can see that one, it actually says 11, 12, 13. And this one is 14, but just doesn't say it. And then on this side, you can see here's 15. That's 16. 17, 18, 19, 20 somewhere, 21, and then back at the front, 22, and this one is 23, 24 somewhere, 25, 26, and 27, and the last one is 28. So like I said, some of these you can't really tell where the number is. Like this one right here is kind of difficult to see. Maybe the stamping is just super light. Or you can, the right light, you can see that says 24 right there. So just make sure you set them all wherever you take them off. So you can take this cam off right here. You would just set them all just like that with the cam in that order, so there's no mistakes. Okay, so what we have to do now is we have to remove the timing chain, because there are a couple steps that we have to do with the timing chain removed so we can rotate the camshafts independently of each other. Right now with the timing chain on, you turn one, you're going to turn the other ones. So I'll get to that step when it's time to take off the the cam bearing caps, but right now we just got to take off the timing chain. Doesn't look terrible, but it's getting replaced. That one too. This one is actually broken. You can see it right there. And in case you were wondering, no, these aren't available anymore. So I'm going to have to try to find one of these, which is part number 120 052 0583. And even though this timing chain doesn't look too bad, it's getting replaced also. Now we can rotate the timing or the camshafts. So that step I was telling you about, it says use a wrench right here. You can see right there that there's actually a hex right there, whereas the other points are round. So you're going to use a wrench right here to rotate the camshafts, each one, so where the tips of the camshafts at cylinders 3 and 9 respectively press onto the bucket tappets in the middle. So right now, because there's going to be a lot of tension on the cam, and since the cam is so long, you don't want to skip this step, because if you take it off in the wrong order, you could snap the camshafts, because camshafts are fairly brittle. So this one right here, here's cylinder 1, 2, and 3. You want these, the points of these cam lobes pointed straight down onto the buckets right here, so it's going to press it down. And then when you take off the cams, these two right here are the last two cam bearing caps you're going to remove. So you can see this one right here, the cam lobes are right here. We're going to need to turn this camshaft over to where they're pointing straight down on the top of the lifters. And you're going to need to do that for cylinders 3 right here for this side, and then on that side you're going to need to do it for cylinder 9, which is basically the third one in from the front on the driver's side. Okay, now you can see that those are pointing straight down, and so are these. You can't really see this one, but you can see up here that these are pointing straight down onto the lifters. And now the work instructions actually say to, just for when we're going back together, do the reverse of that. So you're going to want to put the camshafts in with these lobes pointing down, and then you're going to put these in first to hold it in place. And same thing with these. These are going to go in first, and then you're going to want these lobes pointed down. So basically the opposite of what we're going to do. The work instructions, after this says to get these pointed down, these right here are the last camshaft bearing caps that you're going to remove. So you're going to take them all off except for these two, and then you're going to remove these, and then there's a step for removing these also that I'll go through. Now, the work instructions do not specify what order to take the rest of them off in. It just says remove. But what I'm going to do is I'm not going to go from one side to the other like you're supposed to. I'm still going to work around, and basically like you do on other engines, you're going to leave these here on this one, and then you're going to basically loosen the bolts up in a circular motion, so you lift off the load evenly between the two camshafts. So we're going to remove these in stages, and that is going to be a T40 that you're going to use. Remember, not these 4 right here, but these 6 in the back, and then the 4 in the front. So do these ones, not these ones, and do these ones right here. So these caps, I believe, are only about 22 Newton meters. they're all loose, I'm going to go ahead and remove each one by hand. Looks pretty good. Be careful. So now that these are all loose, we're going to take them off and set them down in the order that we remove them. Next step, it says to slacken the bolts of the camshaft bearing caps at cylinders 3 and 9. I mean, we're going to do one at a time. So at cylinder 3, which would be these right here, this is your intake, this is your intake and exhaust. So you're going to slacken these bolts in steps of 1 turn. So you're going to do back 1 turn, 1 turn, 1 turn, 1 turn. So you want to do these two. You can do them in any order you want. You're just going to want to have to do 1 turn on this one, 1 turn on this one. So you could do 1 turn, 1 turn, 1 turn, 1 turn, 1, 1, 1, 1, like that if you want. Or if you start here, then you can do those 4, and that'll take the slack off this one, and then you'll go like that in 1 turn. Like so. Then you're going to remove the slack off that one, which is what I'm going to do. So as you can see, there's no more tension on these, so I'm just going to remove them the rest by hand, and then we're going to take the cams out. Now we're going to lift off the camshafts and set it on a clean surface. Now, these all look nice and shiny. They don't have any scratches, gouges, wear, anything like that. I'm just going to check them to see if they're springy. If you remember the lifters on the 119, you know that some of them were stuck and they had no spring on them. They were just basically solid. These all seem nice and springy. Some more than others, but none of them are seized. So I'm going to go ahead and remove all the lifters. You can use a magnet. That works really well. Just pull it nice out and straight. And I'm going to set these with the camshafts. Okay, the next thing I'm going to need to do is remove this right here, which comes off with this piece right there. And there are 2 bolts on each side. There's 2 on this side, 2 on this side. You can see them right there. So you're going to want to take those out. And to take those out, you're going to need to take these plates out, because you can see that bolt right there will run into this right here in the corner. And then we'll have to take these off to get the heads off. And to take off these plates, you're just going to need to remove all of the 5mm Allens. And you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 over there. And then you're going to have the same amount on the other side. You can tell that timing chain guide was broken for a bit, because you can see where the timing chain started to wear grooves in this little bridge piece right here. So this may or may not have to be replaced. The piece will fit over the top, but I'll probably locate another one of these and replace it anyway. Okay, so your cylinder head bolts right here, there's 14 of them. They are numbered in this order: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, and 14. So you're going to want to start with number 14 when removing. You're going to start and go backwards, and you're going to tighten, or you're going to loosen these up in stages. And then, so you'll give each one equal amount of turn, then start over from 14, and you keep doing that until you can basically remove the head bolts by hand. And you're going to be using a 12mm triple square, or 12 point, whatever you want to call it. Let's start with a 1/4 turn each one. Now that we have them all cracked loose, I'm going to go ahead and keep loosening them. Probably do half a turn this time in the same order, even though I think I just started with 1. But I'm going to start with 14 this time. My bad. So 14 is going to be this one. We're going to start there, and that's where you're going to break it loose. You're going to start with that one. Then that one. You're going to go in the opposite order. 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. That's the order you should have gone in, not the order I did it the first time. Then you can see they're all pretty loose. Now we can just take them out by hand. Now I'm going to attempt lifting this head off without breaking my back. That's not bad. Well, it's a little more crusty than I was expecting. Not sure what that is. Bunch of solidified something or other in the coolant passage there. We'll have to flush that out and get it out of there. But cylinders look okay. Let me get a light in there. I don't see any scuffing on any of these cylinder walls. Maybe a tiny bit right there. But other than that, yeah, we're gonna have to clean that out. Yeah, I'll definitely have to clean out a bunch of that gunk. We don't want any clogged coolant passages or any of that stuff running through the cooling system. So we're gonna have to make sure that is 100% before this thing gets put back together. Alrighty, so that's it for today's video. You can see that cylinder head's off and looks over here. Looks pretty good from down below. So that's, you know, gives me hopes for that, because it means the bearings and everything down there should be okay. Also, I'm not going to take the pistons out like I did the other one, because like I said, the cylinders on this look okay. I'll see what the other side looks like. You don't need to see me do that twice. But if the other side looks anything like this side, then we should be just fine. And there's not really any reason for me to take the pistons and the crankshaft and the connecting rods out. So thank you for watching. Make sure you give me that thumbs up. Make sure you hit subscribe and hit the notification icon so you get notifications when I post a new video. Thanks for watching.